Hey, folks, I am here with now friend. We started out as clients, but this guy is unbelievable. Dr. Michael Sonick, how are you doing today?
Great. Gary, thank you for having me on and thank you for hosting this. I really appreciate all you do.
Oh, man, listen, I was just sharing some good news with you. And first of all, I'm going to tell people what they're going to get by watching. So, the
Okay.
first thing they're going to get is an expert, Dr. Michael, sharing many, many decades worth of information. The guy is unbelievable. We've connected, we've become friends. I've personally invited him to my conference. He's spoken to my people. But Dr. Michael, what is this book all about?
Well, this book is a culmination of a lot of my experiences in treating people. And I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, a periodontist, and I'm trained to do surgical procedures. I'm trained to how to get people healthy, how to treat disease, how to treat infections. And most of what we're taught in school is all about doing that. But a long time ago, I realized it was more than that. And I think that's probably goes back to my experiences working in the hospitality industry. I
Mm,
was a waiter, I was a lifeguard, I was a cocktail piano player, a bartender, busboy. So I did a lot of that and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed serving people. And I realized that was most important in my connection with human beings was not just to be a good doctor, know how to do the procedures, but what was really important was how to connect with other human beings.
mm.
You're a pastor. That's what you do for a living. And have you taken that? You've created a whole business out of connecting with other human beings and taking it and to be able to 10x what you do by making your business more successful by taking people to another level. So I realized that one-on-one with people, I can really help them.
Mm.
But I've always been a teacher. I love
Yeah.
teaching. I've been teaching in academic institutions for years. I like teaching, but I mostly have taught surgery, taught how to treat infections, etc. But always somehow weaved into my lectures was, well, it's also about the human being that's there. Because
Yes.
if a patient's not comfortable, they're not going to heal very well, you know.
Ooh,
So,
that's deep. That is deep. Well, listen, our whole team is so excited. You've become one of our favorite clients. You've become
well, thank you.
yeah, you've become a rock
You're my
star.
favorite publisher.
Yeah, I love it, I love it. So, you have Jeff Mack, and I don't know if you
Yep,
can see the screen,
I
but
do.
Jeff's been the, project manager, and, we have a lot of our team here, but here's what else, we have all kinds of people from all over the place, and you have people all listen, Uruguay,
Yeah.
look at that. That's I don't think we've ever had Uruguay, but I want everyone to just put where you're from, and Dr. Michael, I think that the people showing up, filled up here
Yep.
today is a testimony of your legacy and your work, and I've met your team, I've met your wife, you've met Daphne, one of our former team members,
Mhm.
and you've had a real impact, but why do you love people wherever you go, and how has that helped you in business? Because I think the lie out there is, "Hey, listen,
Yeah.
you gotta always get yours first, you gotta always win," and
Yeah.
it's very bad business advice, and yet you flipped it in your book.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost ironic, right? Because from the spiritual literature and a lot of things that you do, it's only by giving that you truly receive. And
Oh,
that's the concept. So when you're the gift, when you're there to help others, and you get out of your own self, then you make people feel better. They feel better. You feel better, and everybody sort of wins. It goes
wow.
around. And in my business, a lot of people are looked at the bottom. Well, in any business, they look at the bottom line. But
Yeah.
I've always found that the businesses that are truly most successful, like yours, you even wrote the book, Show Up, Build Up, which everybody in my team is. I bought over 100 copies of that book, and I gave it to
Oh my
everybody in my
gosh,
study
well,
club.
thank you,
My
thank
whole
you.
team has read it, and they quote it. They even, I was talking yesterday to one of my team members. They go, "Show up, build up," and I guess what that means is you show up being the gift, and
Yeah.
that's a spiritual principle. And one of the things that I do on a daily basis is I say a little prayer as I walk into my office. I go, let me be the gift today. Let me be of service to others. And I
Ooh,
open the door of my office and I say, it's showtime. And I learned that from Myron Finkel, one of my mentors, who was a
oh, that's good.
dentist in Manhattan. Because he talked about you're on stage. So when I'm with a patient, it's not about me, it's about them. And it's not about how awesome I am, how great I am. It's about
Mm,
what can I do to make them feel better. And when I get to practice in that space, it's very joyful
mm,
because if it's about me and how much money I make and paying my bills, because I've been in that situation, I've been in a lot of debt. There are various points of time in my life where I've been, God, I'm going to get through this. But when I'm there, it just doesn't work. And
No.
even today, every now and then, something may happen. Something may hurt. I may feel a little bit. I may have a personal problem, or something may happen to my family. When I get out of myself and just to be there to give, to help other people, it
Yeah.
changes dramatically. And my whole life changes. And I
Mm.
see that in all the great people in my life. And I try to associate with people like you and other people that I work with. A lot of people on this call. I see other doctors that are on the call. Jeffrey Rosenthal, plastic surgeon.
Oh my
I
God.
see my high school friends are here. Judge Pat
Wow.
Carroll. It's sort of cool to see. And I think we all have a similar philosophy. And that's
Yeah.
why I've been friends with a lot of these people for 50 years, some of them.
Listen, this is a great group here today. In fact, Christy Chambers
Yeah,
from Strategic Coach. In fact, Strategic Coach is where I met you, and I truly
right.
believe that that attracts some
Yeah,
of the most amazing people in the world I have met through Strategic Coach. But Christy says, you know, listen, she and all of Strategic
yeah,
Coaches are celebrating you today. But you even talk about, is it Julia that
yeah,
helped you with your unique ability?
yeah. That's a good question. The strategic coach is run by our mentor, Dan Sullivan, who's brilliant. He's a genius. And he's probably the largest coach of entrepreneurs in the world. But he doesn't coach from, we never talk about money really when we're there. We always talk about, helping others. How can we make an impact upon the world? And he's brought in other people like Peter Diamandis, who wants to make everybody great so that they can be successful, so they can help other people. What can you do to help 1 billion people on the planet?
Wow.
That's a lofty goal. And when I first joined Strategic Coach, I wanted to talk to Dan Sullivan. Now, he doesn't have a phone. Well, he does. I think only 2 people have the phone number, and I'm
Right.
not one of them. It took me like 2 months to get a phone conversation with him. And he picked up the call because it was recommended to me like 3 years before I joined.
Oh my gosh.
And some very successful guy recommended Strategic Coach to me. He was a big oil guy that I met when I was teaching a course. He was a relative. And I said, how do I get to talk to people like you? Because I don't know much about business. He goes, you can't afford to talk to someone like me. He goes, take Coach. And so I ignored it. And then about 3 years later, a patient comes in and he was talking to talk, and he just seemed to have it. I go, have you ever heard of Dan Sullivan? He goes, oh, he's my coach. I go, I was recommended to take him. He goes, well, take him. And the next day I receive a book from Dan Sullivan. I make a phone call. 2 months later, I talk to Dan. And I was in San Antonio visiting my daughter in dental school. I pick it up, and it took Dan, because he's a great salesman, it was like about 35 seconds. He mentioned unique ability. And during that phone
Oh.
call, he says, do you know what your unique ability is? I go, what's exactly is that? And what he described it is we will teach you to find your unique ability. And what your unique ability is something that's unique to you as an individual that only
Mhm.
you have. And when you're living there, you're completely joyous, happy, and free, and you are being helpful to others. I
Mm.
said, I'm done. But we had 10 minutes. So we ended up talking about politics or something like that.
Yeah.
And during Strategic Coach, one of the things that they get us to do, if you want, you can spend a day with Julie Waller. And Julia will spend a full day talking about your favorite subject, yourself. And you just talk about all the things that you do. And what I did is I got 50 people to write a letter of who they thought I was. It was the same letter from everybody. They all saw my unique ability. And by the end
Wow.
of that day with Julie, I walked out of there and it was like, all right, now I'm clear. My unique ability is to help others. My unique ability is to be the mentor to others. My unique ability is to teach, to get out of myself. It's not to do surgery, although I'm a good surgeon and I've written textbooks on it and I'm well known for that.
Yeah.
But what I really love is just helping and mentoring others, whether
Yeah.
I'm teaching them surgery or some of the concepts that you and I talk about. I would like to be a preacher, but that's way too much work, man. All those funerals and weddings.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, there's people literally saying that they want autographed copies
Yeah,
and, so here's what I want people to realize. First of all, Mike's book is literally a reflection of his heart. And I think just even the title, you catch it. And I will tell you this, it's good for any industry. So
hmm,
this book is not just for dentists, meaning you're giving literal map and mottos and a framework how anybody can take this and apply it. I mean, do you believe that this is for any industry?
yeah, it is. I mean, I'm writing it through the reflection of a dentist, but my role models have been actually in customer service. My friend Ralph Gray there, my mentors here on there. My old lifeguard friends are coming up from like when I was
Oh my
16,
God.
which was a few years ago. It's nice
Yeah.
to see. My mentors are actually people in the restaurant industry. One of them is Danny Meyer, who, everyone knows him from Shake Shack, but he's really became well known for starting Gramercy Tavern and Union Square Cafe, and he's probably the most successful restaurateur, in the country. And the title there, which you're keying me in for, is Transformational Insights in Hospitality, Human Connection,
Mm,
provide high quality care experiences for people and practitioners. I didn't say people and doctors. I wrote practitioners. It's anybody who practices a relationship with another human being.
mhm,
And you could be, someone who puts roofs on, as a friend of mine who's a roofer. I got a call today from a friend of mine who's a lawyer,
mhm.
and he asked me if I would speak to his group, about that. So
Wow.
anybody in customer service, and almost everybody in business is in customer service.
Yeah.
Unless you're a computer repairman by yourself or a watch repairman sitting in a little room, most of us deal with other human beings.
Yeah.
And today, I think it's more important than ever because we're becoming sort of isolated, with social media, which we're on
Mm.
now. But a lot of people don't. I go to the gym, and everybody has earbuds on that's under 30, and there's no communication. They're not talking. I don't know if they're listening to anything or they say just don't bother me. And I see a lack of that. And one of the things that we really enjoy doing in our practice, and I have a phenomenal team. I have a team of about 20, 25 people, and every day all I hear is like, you have a great team. You have great people here.
Mm,
How do you get such a great team? Oh, I hire great people that love to serve other people.
mm.
And, there's Ziad Jaboud, who's one of the guys I speak with. My
Yeah.
friends, Danny Meyerfield. Thank you, Dave. That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only hope. 10 copies, Pete. That's it. Only 10.
I love it. I love it.
Pete's a
Well,
former strategic coach guy.
is he? Is he? Well, listen. I told you before we got on. Listen, I mean, we've had people hit Wall Street, USA Today, like incredible stuff. But I'll
Yeah,
tell you what, honestly, this is a true story. We've never had someone, to my knowledge, in all three versions of their book be on the Amazon hot new release category at once. And what I want people to realize is paperback, Kindle, audio, like he's dominating. That's just unheard of. So I think it shows that this book is resonating. I will tell you this, like as people are reading this book, the best thing you can do for any author is write a review. Just write a review and say, look, Dr. Michael, I've known him for years. He is fantastic, and he puts in this book his heart. But what do you hope this book does? I know that's an interesting big
yeah.
question. What do you hope this book does?
Well, it's as a teacher for many years, and you know this because you've been counseling people for years. It's really hard to make an impact. It's
Mm,
really hard to change people. What I do hope it does is that it opens the eyes to other, especially in medicine and dentistry, because most people don't like their doctor or their dentist. They're always looking for another one. I mean, if it's very
mhm,
rare that someone say, "Oh, you got to see my doctor. You got to see my dentist." It's rare because they're stressed. I think I would like to have the physicians and dentists become a little bit more sensitive to the needs of the patients and
mm,
put themselves in the need in the position of the patient.
yeah.
Part of my lens for viewing this is because I had a very bad accident when I was 8, as a lot of people know, and I knocked
Mm,
out my front teeth. These are all fake. And I had another bike accident. I think I told you about it. You're a fellow biker. I went over to handlebars 2 years
oh,
ago and knocked him out again. So I've been in the dental chair quite a bit. I've had a full mouth reconstruction, so I know what it's like.
wow.
And I recently had, I'll share with you, I recently had a shoulder injury, a nerve entrapment, and my right hand was getting numb and tingling. And I'm thinking like, oh, is this career ending? And as I was there, I realized I had to reach out to some good practitioners. And I have a few good friends. One of them, Dante Britis, he's an orthopedic surgeon. Another one, Jay Krompeter, another orthopedic surgeon. And I happen to know these guys, luckily. And just talking to them, they took me through everything. They treated me like a human being. He even came in at 7 o'clock in the morning to see me before I went to work. And Chia Wu, my acupuncturist and massage therapist, all these people sort of rallied around me. And when I was there, I realized that this is, and I think you understand this concept because you teach it all the time. When you have a problem, it's an opportunity. I go,
Yes.
what's the opportunity here for me? And the
Mm,
opportunity is here is like, maybe I'm working too hard. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I have to put a team together. And what it did is made me more sensitive to what my patients are going through. Because I have a couple of employees that have neck problems, and I become an authority on nerve entrapment over the last 4 weeks. I know all about it.
Wow.
My pain's going away. I know what it has to do. And so I'm now going to be helping one of my employees. So I think what I want to get out there is like, get out of yourself and realize you're not just there to just do this,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
here, take the script, be there, look someone directly in the eye, talk to them
Wow.
and be present. Take your time,
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah.
And, my friend Dave Rosani, who's on here, was one of my closest friends in periodontics. We've known each other since we've been 22. And I'm watching him go through his metamorphosis because we're the same age. And he's writing about this too. And I'm very proud of him because he's talking about the sensitivity of this. And, everybody wants to be this big famous surgeon or something. And it's not about that, because the body is the healer. The body is the true healer. And I see there are a lot of doctors on here. One of my residents, Martina, is on here from Pittsburgh. I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally from Brazil. And Jeffrey Rosenthal, a plastic surgeon. I know these people very well. They have the same feeling. When I had some surgery, I had to remove a little mole a few years ago from Jeffrey, and he took out the sutures himself in his office. Now I've had hand surgery, major hand surgery, but one of the top surgeons. I don't always get to see him.
Wow.
But the doctor takes out his own sutures. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he still does that today. And he's been doing this for over 40 years.
Oh my gosh.
He's great. He's a superb teacher and clinician and artist. So I think it's just to be a little bit more sensitive and to be aware that other human beings. It's all about connecting with human beings, because that I think is it's really a spiritual thing, because the body, if I'm talking too much, tell me. But what happens sometimes is we think that we do this and you heal. And I always joke with my students. I said, because I teach a lot of cadaver courses, they work in the lab. I go, you work on these cadavers, you go back a month later, they don't heal because they're not alive.
Wow.
You work on a human being, they heal. They go home for a month. You don't see them for a month. They come back and they heal. Do you think you had anything to do with that? The body healed. Something inside healed, and you have to untap that. So what our role is we're sort of guides. We guide the body in a position where the body can put itself to heal. Like my back pain, my neck pain. No doctor fixed that. Something inside me fixed it. I don't know what happened. I'm not exactly sure. And that's our role. And it's not about just treating a tooth or a liver, or a kidney or a blood problem. It's putting it all together. And when you put that whole thing together, people feel so much better. And the literature will prove us out in that. When people feel better, they have less anxiety and they heal better and they have less pain.
I love what you're talking about. A couple of years ago, my youngest daughter knocked a tooth out in a basketball game. And it was traumatic for her. I mean, you can imagine, young kid, all the people watching, front tooth.
Yeah.
Wasn't wearing a mouth guard. Now she always does. But we're talking blood. We're talking everyone freaking out, and my dentist, Dr. Heidi Stauffer, we developed friendship. We talk audiobooks and all this stuff. But for some reason, I called her really quick on the office line. It was the weekend. And it says, if there's an emergency, leave a message. And I left I left that message. She came over on a Saturday. We quickly drove over. She's like, I don't know about this tooth, if it's going to take. She sat there. My wife was panicky. And she held it for a long time as she tried to get the nerve to receive it. And the fact that she did that, and she probably did a bunch of stuff that I don't even know the technical stuff. But to this day, my wife always remembers her. She's always on our favorite list. The tooth has been okay. And it's your book. It's treating people, not patients, not saying it's a Saturday. Sorry, have a good life. But I think that the world would be a better place. And I know that sounds cliche, but truly the world would be a better place if we apply Dr. Sonick's principles.
Well, thank you. It's I always say that it's when things are going well, that's not when you become successful. When who are you being when things are going badly? How are you showing up when there's a problem? And I talk with a lot of men in my life, and women too, but mostly men, about things that they go through. And I say to them, I go, people are watching you now. They're watching you, how you're dealing with this.
Yeah.
I said, you can't control the outcome, but you can show up, build up. You can show up doing the right thing. You can show up being ethical.
Yes.
And then just sort of do the best you can and get out of the way. You
Oh,
know,
that's good.
and
That's good.
that's what their dentist did. She showed up. Do you know how many patients come to my office, saying I didn't get a phone call? One of the most traumatic things to I treat 3 or 4 different types of patients, that
Mm.
are very, very nervous. One is like your daughter. The single front tooth is probably one of the more traumatic things to
Oh,
go through
yeah.
because it's so emotional, especially in a young person.
Oh, yeah.
The other one is the people who neglected themselves and they just everything.
Sure.
Everything is, they're just a major, rehab. And then the people that are just sick, that you get to help. I call those the leaky roofs. They don't know they're sick, but those are the people that I help, I fix, but they don't know I'm fixing them. And 20 years later, that's the anonymous gift that I give, because 20 years later, they don't have a problem, but they don't realize it's because we did some very simple things for them
Ah,
now. Like,
yes.
go to sleep, don't smoke, eat right, you tell
Yeah.
them, and then like 20 years later, you're doing pretty good. But it's the ones where you show up where people are in really, really bad shape.
Yep.
That's when I have to be there for them, because not a lot of
Mm.
people will be there. A lot of people want to distance themselves, sweep things under the carpet. You see this?
Oh,
I
yeah.
embrace when I see a problem, I embrace it.
You see it as the opportunity. I get that
Yeah.
loud and clear from the
Don't they
book.
say that in Silicon Valley? What's a failure? It's an opportunity. Well,
Ah,
you
I
know,
love it. I love it.
actually, Google has a department where they just create experiments for you to fail, and about 95% of them fail. But there's fail, fail, fail. They go fail fast, and that's where you really, really, that's where you really learn. So my cousin Rick Michael, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
You should look him up in Vegas. He's been on the Vegas Strip for 40 years. He's an impersonator, a great performer. He does unbelievable Frank Sinatra, and
That's so
he's got
good.
he's got his new show now. I'm going to give you a little shout out here, Rick. It's the Jew Man Group. It's live on the Strip, and we're going to be coming out there in about 3 weeks to see you, buddy. So I look forward to seeing you.
Wow.
He's really talented. So if you
But
like
see,
Sinatra and Rat Pack stuff, he's one of the top. So
but even the way you're running the party, I mean, you've endorsed Dan Sullivan, you've honored each person, you've honored me, Christy, Julia,
yeah,
Rick, like that is the oh yeah, great. He put in the website there, the gmangroup.com.
it
But
better be funny, Rick.
there you go. There you go. But listen, you got the website here,
Yeah,
and we teach all the time that your book shouldn't just be a message, it should be a movement. And,
right.
our company's about you taking your book into multiple streams of influence, impact, and income to change lives.
Right.
But what do you hope? I mean, I see a lot of things here.
Yeah.
You're gonna be offering seminars? What are you gonna be
Yeah.
doing in the future?
Well, I still practice. I practice 2 days a week. I have two partners, Dr. Raymond, Stephanie Koo. They're great, and I've been fortunate to mentor both of them. Stephanie was my resident, went to Harvard. She's been with me for 5 years, including residencies. Ray's been with me for a decade. They're
Wow.
phenomenal. So I have a lot of confidence that they can take over when I'm not there. But I still like to. I still love to be connected with human beings, patients. I like that. But I do some other things. I also still teach surgical courses. I have something called Sonick seminars, which is a series of continuums that we do in my office. I've been working at NYU and also with my friend Jeff Shapiro at A1 Wall Street. That's concepts. That's a collaborative effort.
Mhm.
And of course, my new passion, it's not my new passion, but something that I'd really love to be able to do is to get this book in every dental school and to teach a curriculum of courses in dental schools. And on my
Wow.
site right now, I've done a series of videos, which are available if people want to get those.
Is that
I have a
peoplenotpatients.org? Is that that
Yeah,
one?
I have a 10-part video series of me going through the concepts that are in the book with a workbook, and then you can get credentialed to become a people, not patients practice. So my goal eventually, um, I just want to give a shout out to Ralph Gray. Ralph Gray was my resident advisor in Atlanta, and I just found out recently that that he was the campaign manager for Clyde Frazier when he was in high school, Walt
Wow.
Frazier. And Ralph's a great guy, and he's been a
Mm.
big influence on me, very impactful. And he had my back when I was a wise guy resident from New York, then in Atlanta. Thank you, Ralph, for that.
Yes.
But I want to be able to, ideally, what I would love to be able to do, my big moonshot, is to be able to partner with people like Danny Myers, with guys like Scott Cohn and Scott and and other entrepreneurs who are in hospitality and bring this hospitality to hospitals like Yale New Haven or Hospital for Special Surgery or Columbia,
Yeah.
NYU, and then to make this as part of the culture and teaching in every educational program.
So
I
good.
give keynotes about this. I've been doing that for a long time, but to get this to really to be impactful, I think we need to get into the schools. There's a
Mm,
series of videos that I did at the encouragement of your team, which we had a nice team from New York that came up. Actually, a
yeah.
little short story. Michael Jackson's choreographer actually was the videographer. It's just a coincidence. So
Oh,
I had a Michael Jackson's team there. That was pretty funny.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
that was a lot of work, but it was fun. Uh,
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to challenge everybody to do. You've caught the vision. You understand that in this world today, post COVID, things pandemic, I mean, we are literally in a world right now that people are not being seen, they're
yeah.
not being heard. And we all, as professionals, have an opportunity to see people
Mhm.
and value people. And I think what you're seeing with Dr. Sonick from the litany of people that have joined us today, all of his incredible people, it means success. Like that is the way to success. Would you agree, Dr. Sonick? Like you want to be successful, you focus on the people first.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out of yourself. Selfishness never works. We have that's our default. We get scared. We get selfish. We get fearful. You know, these people that are up there, Christian Coachman, Christian Coachman is a good friend of mine. He's from Brazil. He's a founder of Digital Smile Design. He's a huge influencer.
Mm,
He's actually made a huge impact on me. He spent 3 days at my house to teach me how to put PowerPoint lectures together a few years ago, and he's been a great friend.
wow.
John Coyce, who was probably underneath him, who was probably one of the top 5 or 6 educators in the United States as a dentist.
Mm,
Huge impact upon me. Founded a
mm,
Coyce Center. He's out there. And my main mentor there, I haven't mentioned him, Dennis Tarnow. Dennis Tarnow is, in my opinion, one of the best periodontist educators in the world and one of the best implant teachers. And I was fortunate to meet him when I was 31, and he was like 38, 39. And I spent 40 years working with him, and he's been such a gift to me. I think about these guys every day.
wow.
We stand, as you notice, there's nothing I'm saying that I've made up. And see Andre Ponce there from Chile. Thank you, Andre. Alice.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And Andre's one of the best photographers in the world. He's
Wow.
unbelievable. Yeah. If you go to his website or his
Did
Instagram,
did he do the one of you? I love that.
no, that's Jose. Jose is my
Jose is amazing too,
yeah.
yeah.
Jose's here. Hey, Jose, come on and say hello.
Yeah.
Jose's right here.
Hey, Jose, I
Okay, he
like
doesn't
that
want to.
picture. Yeah,
Anyway,
he doesn't want to. Okay, that's okay.
okay, but no, there's
Yeah.
some great people there. But I think about these people every day, and I stand on the shoulders of giants. So everybody, one of the things that I, one of the things that I always want to do is I always want to mention the people that I've learned from because that's how I got here. I didn't make this stuff up.
Mm,
The principles that we're talking about, they've been in literature for 4,000 years.
wow.
It's nothing new. And this is the stuff that you do. And you've been great, Gary. I want to thank you. I really want to acknowledge you, your whole team. I've been working with you for a while, and every day you blow me away about how great you are. Not just what you do. I
Yeah,
mean, I know you're very modest, but not just what you
yeah.
do because you know this stuff, but who you are.
Mm,
And if I send you a question, I get a video, a 4-minute video with answers and scripts going back there. Each one is you're a great teacher. So
oh, well,
I really
thank you.
want to thank you. It's like, I mean, I've learned a lot in my field, but I feel like I'm in my first year of dental medical school right now. It's like a fire hose of stuff coming at me. It's really very, very fascinating.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, you
Take
are
care.
a great student.
Huh?
You are a great student.
Yeah, well, I'm a student. Yeah, constant student. Aren't we all?
You are. I mean, I'm giving you action items and you're tearing up Instagram videos and
Yeah.
tweets and like you're just doing a fantastic job. So,
Well, my
uh,
daughter Jen's on here, and she's a little promoter in New York, and she says that the people in her organization, Manhattan, are impressed with my Instagram. So that's the biggest compliment I get from a daughter who's 30.
oh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, listen, I don't know if it's true or not, but we're gonna wrap up with
Right.
this comment. Look at this. Jeff just said, and again, I haven't verified it, but Jeff just said that you hit #1 on Amazon thanks to all these people.
Right.
So that's
Woohoo.
huge. You'll never lose that status. #1 international Amazon bestseller. So, Dr. Sonick, this was fantastic. And people are saying it went fast. Christy's saying that. But yeah, I would tell people, Dave's been on here, your audiobook, like get the
Yeah.
audiobook. Dave Samuel, record your audiobook. He's got a great thing here. But thank you so much for blessing us today. And this was fantastic, Dr. Sonick.
No, this was. Thank you so much. You made it easy. I'm no longer so nervous.
No, you're good. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Go spread the word on the book. We'll see you.
Bye, fans.